Hey fam, I hope you're having a great weekend so far. I'm gonna talk a little bit about a couple of different things today, and I'm just gonna kind of put it all out there, and then feel free to give me any feedback you have about some of the things that I've been going through. Because it is like a level of, I don't know what else to call it other than trying to survive orchestrated events, other people trying to push a certain narrative, and I'm just going to put out there what's actually happening, and then you interpret it the way you see fit. So these are some of the things that I've been contending with for a while now. At one point, I had a private investigator that I was working with because I was trying to get in contact with my kids who are now grown because I didn't have valid contact numbers for them because that information has not been provided to me. It was not facilitated that I be kept up to date on that information. And I wanted to just make sure that they were okay. And I still have not been able to confirm that because they have not contacted me and I have not uh, contacted them via the number that I have, the one number. I still only have one valid phone number, and I have not reached out to my son because it was expressed to my private investigator that he would prefer that I don't do that. So, as a courtesy to him and out of respect for his wishes, I have not done so. But that opportunity for him is always open if he chooses to communicate with me. That's first thing I wanted to say. Secondly, when I was working with my PI, something that I was noticing quite frequently when I would get home from work, sometimes when I would get up to leave for work, there would be random strange vehicles parked directly in front of my house, or directly across the street, or directly facing my front door. And it got to the point where it was not sitting right with me. And, I know it's a public street. I know it could just be anybody parked out there, but there was just something about it. And it was happening so frequently, and they were always different vehicles. And it got to the point where I was feeling uncomfortable about it. So I screenshot the vehicles, plates, and I sent them to my PI. And every one that she pulled up, she said it was an unregistered vehicle. The license plate was not registered to anybody. And then her and I were talking about it, and we were like, well, why would that be happening? And we were trying to figure it out. And the only conclusion we could come to is that maybe there's a chop shop around here. Maybe this is like illegal activity. I still, for the life of me, can't figure out why they would be parking in front of my house. I have nothing to do with anything like that. So I am very confused by it. But for my own protection, in case like it was something even more nefarious than that, which that's already really nefarious, but if it was something where someone in those vehicles was trying to potentially harm me, I wanted a screenshot of the vehicle so I had documentation of the vehicle that was being parked in front of my house, because I don't know what their intentions were. And I just thought it was strange that I think I sent her maybe 3 or 4 different screenshots of different vehicles, and every single one came back not registered to anyone. That seems very odd. So, if you know anything about why that might potentially be happening, please let me know. The other thing I wanted to talk about is just comments that have been made in the past to me, insinuating that I'm the type of person that would randomly hook up. I don't know how else to say this, but I am not in my 20s. I think young women oftentimes are more trusting of people in their 20s, and I'm going to say it that way. We're more trusting. We have a tendency to not see the red flags as easily and as readily when we're in our 20s. And so there was definitely a time in my life where I was too trusting of people, and too generous with my time and my energy with people. As far as life in my 40s, I can say that that ship has sailed. It sailed a very long time ago. And whatever intentions other people had for me now at this point in my life, if I sense that they are not upright, if I sense that they have some sort of deceptive nature and that they do not have the best of intentions for me, I clock that. I may not necessarily react right away, but I certainly don't open myself up in a vulnerable way, especially like in an intimate way with people like that. And I get the impression that there are people that have the impression that I am like that. I don't know where they got this idea. I was married for over a decade, and then after the divorce, which I am exceedingly grateful occurred, I have only, I wouldn't even call it dating. I barely saw one guy, and even with him, it did not go all the way. And that was about a year out of my separation. So that was the isolated incident of like any kind of contact that could have potentially led to more serious intimate contact. And even in that case, it didn't. So I don't know why I'm still hearing these kind of comments. I don't know why there's still this narrative that seems to be being pushed forward that I'm potentially the type of person that would do that. I can't change what other people are going to say. I can't change what other people are going to think. But the fact of the matter is, I wake up in the morning, I feed my animals, I go to work, I come home. If I have to run an errand before I go home, it's usually to get gas, groceries, or to drop something off at the post office. That's pretty much it. And then I come home, and on the weekends, because it's the only time I have, I try to get caught up on yard work. I don't socialize, I don't go out, I don't even go out to the movies by myself. If I want to watch something and it's not on TV, I just don't go. And there's multiple reasons why I do this. As someone who's a domestic violence survivor, I don't feel comfortable around other people. I prefer to stay home because of the harm that was done to me in the past. And quite frankly, I find it very insulting that there are people that are still trying to push this narrative that I'm a certain way, that my behavior and actions clearly demonstrate that that's not the case. I mean, well, let me put it this way. I am not worried about what other people think about me and what other people say about me. I am a little bit irritated at the slander because that's all it is. And I am irritated that they don't have anything better to do with their lives than to slander me. But I will say that I'm not really going to give it a lot of energy because ultimately, anybody that would believe that about me, anybody that would perpetuate that kind of bullshit about me, they were hell bent on believing that sort of narrative about me from the start. And it wouldn't matter what I did, it wouldn't matter what I said. They were going to go with that narrative, whether it was truthful or not. So I just kind of keep it in that perspective. I'm just going to get up every day. I'm going to do the best I can. I know that when I lay my head down at night that I can sleep peacefully because I've done the best that I can. I have prayed to Jesus in reference to like anything that I felt like it was a huge mistake that I've made in my life. I've tried to make amends for those areas that I was deficient in, and I continue to try to do so every day. I am always striving to be the best possible version of myself. I don't compete with other people. I'm constantly competing with myself. I'm competing with the version of me from yesterday and always trying to improve that. And I really feel like that is the only competition that anybody should really be in. So I guess I would say to the people that support me, thank you so much for your love and support. To the people that hate me for whatever reason, all I can say to you is I hope that you come to terms with your hate. I hope that you come to terms with your envy. I hope that you can maybe turn that mirror around and start focusing on yourself, because that is going to be the best way that you will hopefully achieve your highest level of success. Focusing on me and whatever issues you may perceive that I have is not going to better your situation. And considering how many years this has gone on in some cases for certain individuals, I can't feel any other way than sad for you. I feel pity for you because you clearly don't see that your conduct is self-destructive. So I'm just going to leave that there. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. I just really wanted to talk about this, and I hope you found this helpful in some way. Have a great weekend, and God bless.